Okay. Let me ping people on reswitched, and then we're gonna give some people some time to filter in here. Moment. Thank you, Felix. I'm very, very excited about this. Is audio a bit low? Okay, let me try turning it up a bit. Is that better? Hello, Fire Dragon 69. I'm gonna give 5 people. I'm gonna give people like 5 minutes to start filtering in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, excellent. Yeah, I haven't streamed in 4 years, so things may be a bit off. It may take a little, may take a bit for me to get back in the swing of things, but I'm super excited about this. Hello, Coding Koopa. Yes, Block Builder. I vape. I do in fact vape. Metaphorically. Hello, Crashmiss. Yes, I am for sure still around, and you know, 20.0.0 is in a lot of ways, you know, I think the last hurrah for major Switch updates, and so I am really looking forward to actually working on stream again. It's been forever since I did this, but the plan is to do all of the atmosphere updates for 20.0.0 on stream, and so they'll be doing some reverse engineering and then atmosphere implementation. Okay, I'm gonna wait until my clock reads 5:53, and then I will dive right in. In the meantime, are there any questions from people? Crashmiss says, I know it's early, but do you have any thoughts on Switch 2 hacks yet? I mostly expect the Switch 2 to not be hackable via software, and I also don't think voltage glitching is going to be a very good option, because the boot processor runs dual-core lockstep. But we'll see. I think the Switch 1 has really secure software, and it's only because of hardware issues and voltage glitching that people have continued hacking the Switch for a long time. And the Switch 2 does not trust its boot processor. Yeah, that's correct, Fire Dragon. The boot processor is completely untrusted. They have a new kind of TSEC thing called the Platform Security Controller that is like a super TSEC that's actually in charge. But, okay, I am going to go ahead and get started. So, new system update. The first thing that we're going to want to do here is actually download it. I think I did the latest here, probably. Yep. Okay, and there we go. We are downloading the new system update. Hello, Zeki Cat Games. Yes, I vape. God, it's been so many years since I did this. The last time I streamed was fully 4 years ago, and I think it was when I did 12.0.0, which is just crazy. Just absolutely insane. Hey, Masan. Okay, that looks like the system update is downloaded. It's been extracted. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get a sense for what I'm going to need to do for Atmosphere. So to do that, I'm going to have to extract package 2. X, hack tool, T, package 21, vector, out, package 2, extract anyone, save anyone, JSON. Okay, and so this should, I think, yeah. Okay, so now we've got all of this, all of these decrypted processes. You're using the amazing PNG tuber stuff. I don't want a VTube. That's really not it's really not my style. Also, hey, line perfect. Okay, so I have this script these days that I call IPC gen that generates these IPC summaries for system updates for me. So I'm going to go ahead and run that now. cgen.py, and it takes in a number and then a directory where system processes are. So let's do that here, and then another one for 819 ROM and X package 2. Wait, out. Anyone. Okay, and then let's run this. And so what this is going to do is this is going to automatically run my IPC generation script, which basically just invokes my script a bunch of times, and it will generate summaries of all of the IPC interfaces, which I can then diff, and that'll give me a sense of what I'm going to need to do for Atmosphere. Hey, Tenebrio. Yeah, it has been 4 years since I last streamed. It has been an insane amount of time since I did this. But new major system update. I'm excited about the Switch 2. I figured perfect time. I'm gonna do my best to stream all of my work on updating Atmosphere to support the new update. And yes, I think QLunch was updated. So what this script is gonna do is this is gonna test all of these system processes, and it's gonna generate a big JSON file that describes all of the little microservice interfaces. And you can see, like, I've got here for 19.0.0, I've got all the interfaces. I've got little summaries of all the command IDs, where the functions live. And yeah, the fact that you just know how many zeros in the title ID is crazy. Yeah, geez. Oh man, NS is crashing. Okay, well, that sucks. That could be a problem. Let's see. What is going? Okay. Well, I am very lazy, and I don't really need NS, and I can figure that out later. Or name. I'm just gonna run the script without NS, and I'm gonna figure this out. Later. I want to get a really fast, high-level view of what I'm gonna need to do here, and skipping a process or two, fine. I'm not happy about it. I will probably fix this later. But debugging my IPC generation scripts sounds like suffering, so we're just not gonna suffer. Hunter Mario asks, when do you plan on updating from Windows 10? I don't. Windows 11 sucks. I have a laptop for work that was forced to update to Windows 11, and it's cancer, so if I can avoid it, I'm just never gonna update to Windows 11. But yeah, also this is a virtual machine, so there's really no need to worry about that stuff. Okay. What do you think Nintendo will use for the Switch 2 version scheme? I mostly expect them to go back to 1.0.0. That is, I think this 20.0.0 update for NX is going to be 1.0.0 for announce. I could be wrong about that, but that's my bet. When do you plan on updating from Python 2? I don't. Python 2 is based. I plan on being Python 2 my whole life. Python 2 ride or die. Yeah, no, the like forcing. I've been forced to work on Windows 11 for like the better part of 6 months, and that's suffering. Okay. Hopefully it's only NS that's going to complain. We can only pray. This script takes a while, and in the background, I think I'm just gonna... Well, no, because I really need to get this high-level view of what I'm going to be doing. I think that's kind of my like actual top priority right now. in a private server, TuxSH just said Python 2 isn't based, and I want him to know, since he's watching this, that he's wrong about this. Python 2 is so based. And I know it's based because I use it, and I'm based. Okay, when will you wear wigs? I don't intend to ever wear wigs. Misan says, do you think ounces have already been flashed in the factory with a 20.0 equivalent for a while now? No. So I think 19.0.0 or the equivalent or whatever is probably the manufacturing version. And I guess you're right. That would make 20.0.0 is a 2.0 equivalent. But I think that it's like how for Switch 1 we got 1.0.0 and then, a day 1 update. I think what we got today is the day 1 update for ounce. I guarantee you manufacturing started months ago. I think they simply have to have been starting flashing months and months ago. Okay, it looks like this is going to finish. Thankfully, we're not going to have an S, but we're just going to pretend that that's not a problem. God, I love memes. Okay, Python sort info.py, 20.0, IPC, server all, 20, all sorted. And this is going to sort everything so that it's easy to do comparisons. Yeah, SPlay is streamplay, I think. Okay, so now we do Python diff servers.py, 19.0 auto all sorted, 20.0 auto all sorted. Okay, here we go. Here's our big IPC diff. Let me just do this. 19 to 20 IPC, no, .text. Process removed. Oh, Jesus. Really? Did they, break this? Christ. Okay. Well, I don't know what's happening here. Presumably they broke my process name parsing. We love it. But I think, given this appears to have somewhat worked, we're going to roll with it. We're just going to ignore... They probably changed the format of the process names in RO data. And that's fine. Okay, account. I don't care about this. Yeah, fuck it, we ball. Account stuff. I don't care about this. AM stuff, atmosphere doesn't care about this. Audio, we don't care about this. Capserve, I don't care about this. Clock reset, I don't care about this. Okay, this matters. Okay, a bunch of new ERPT commands. So these matter because we re-implement ERPT. Yes, friends. fserve. Whole bunch of new device operator commands, new file system proxy commands, new save commands, don't care, don't care, don't care. We don't give a shit about most of this. New content metadatabase function. Okay, gonna need to do this. That's fine. Diffing, notification, MPNS, we don't care about this. We don't care about this shit. Okay. PSM, RTC settings, socket commands. Okay, in terms of IPC stuff that we need to care about, it's really only this. So that's pretty easy. It's just ERPT and NCM. And there'll probably be other changes, but in terms of stuff that will break boot, that stuff is obvious and I will need to solve it. Not referring to switch rooters 20.0 auto-generated page. Does this do KIPS too? Yes, it does. NCM is included, Misan, so you can see that that's included. K9 FGT, which I see, nice username, very classy, says, I'm new here, what are those two? So Atmosphere implements a bunch of different system processes, and there's a list of all the ones that we have here, and if there are any changes in services that are hosted by these, I'm going to need to figure out what has changed here and then implement it myself. So this is my process to-do list. But let's dive right in. One of the things that I do that I think is really important is diffing the kernel. And that is kind of always my top priority. So we are going to go ahead and start the process of diffing the kernel. Oh, what do those two stand for? ERPT is error reports. It's used to store, when something goes wrong in the system, report gets written by it. And NCM is Nintendo Content Management. It correlates Nintendo's title or program IDs, which are 64-bit numbers, to where programs are actually stored on disk. Yeah, man, it is idle time. Okay, where's 819? NX out. Okay. let's load this in. And I don't know that I've ever done a kernel diff on stream before, right? Because I didn't get in the habit of diffing the kernel reliably until after I stopped streaming. Do you expect Atmosphere on Switch 2 to work significantly differently? I don't expect Atmosphere to be a thing on Switch 2, is the honest answer to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I am not personally going to be doing the custom firmware for the Switch 2, so that's a question for whoever does that. Open Cepheus segments. Okay, so the kernel. I know this program better than basically any other program, period. I have spent so much time looking at the kernel, and there's going to be a lot here that I'm going to explain as I'm doing, just because I need to go fast, and I have done this not hundreds, dozens of times at least. Do you have an estimate for the diameter of the kernel dev's balls? Fucking enormous. The kernel dev's balls are huge. Huge respect to those guys. They take so many risks, and they all pay off, and they're based. They're based guys, and I love them. Balls like the size of my fists. Okay. Let me get my header file for the kernel's types in here, because I didn't copy it into the VM, because I'm not a smart man. Okay. So, new kernel. First thing we do, file, load file, parse the header file. This gets the types in for the previous kernel. And so now we have all our types, and then I need to fix up the segments. And for starters, this is not .ro data. This is actually .text.crt0, because they changed the way that this works a couple updates ago, where now like start just immediately branches to this. So you're not planning on developing a custom firmware Switch 2, but you have any plans to hang on security? I'm interested in poking around. I don't think that I'm going to be doing anything super crazy, but I'm going to do a little poking here and there. I'm going to talk to people who are working on it, have some fun. Also, my diff script will fail if I don't do this. So text.crt0. I'm just going to copy over all of these names now, because otherwise my diff script doesn't see these. So this is a known weird thing where, because this is in its own segment that isn't .text, bindiff just doesn't like to see these unless I manually name them. So the first thing I do when I do any kernel is I name all these, which is stupid, I know, but we live in a society, and that's fine. Okay, what is this? 2.1c. Did they change the order of these? They might have. Okay, let's see. It looks like they might have changed the order of these functions, which means that's going to be fun. That's going to be assembly work for me, but let me just go to CRT0 and see what's happening here. Disable MMU, iCache, and Tcache should be the first thing here, I think. Although, what's this doing? Okay, well, I'll label these later then. Never mind, you can do this later. Let me get everything else labeled first. OData 1, this is fine. Sim. And then here's the thing, is that this ROData 2 is not quite right. So they moved ktarget system to live in ROData last update, which means I need to manually insert a segment here. Debug var0, and so that's going to be from 8000D 5471 to 8000D 54. Looked like 90. Seemed right. Let's see, is that gonna be right? Seems like no. Seems like it's actually 98 is where I'm gonna want to go. Okay. 98. Yes, and then set this as read write. I don't recall if anyone has asked this before, but why the lack of interest in Switch 2 hacking? Oh, I'm interested. I just think that it's going to be really difficult, and I like throwing my head against walls, but not that hard. Okay, I think that they might have changed this, but this should be enough for me to start running my scripts. We rename this to .ro-data, and now we run some scripts. File, scripts, command, Python, kernel scripts. So first off, let's get the system call tables. And so this is a script I have written that labels all of the system call handlers. It appears that that still worked. Let's see. Did it? Yes. Okay. Found the system call tables fine. And now let's do our auto objects. File script command. Anyone here secured a Switch 2 pre-order yet? Yeah, I pre-ordered 3 of them. I mean, I'm gonna look at it. I'm interested, but it's so different. Also, yeah, Misana's right. I mean, I have put over 10,000 hours into the Switch, and I am also at a different point in my life. And while I'm interested, I just can't throw another 10,000 hours at another console. Okay, but that seems like it worked too, which is great. So now I hit this to save it. Now we are going to do a quick bin diff. Documents. Let's take this. Let's make a copy of it for bin diffing it. Bin diff. And now we wait. And this is going to tell me about a bunch of stuff. Right. Okay. Oh yeah, never mind. That's not going to be a valid diff. I forgot to do some pretty important stuff. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to need to make sure that all of these exception handlers are correct and not like tail calling. Yeah, exactly. Gotta do that. Gotta do that. So basically these exception handlers branch to a bunch of routines, and yeah, it's this DSP NSH shit every time these days. They added after an exception return, they added a couple updates ago. It does a data barrier to non-shareable in an ISB, and I think this is some kind of speculative execution patch. But it breaks IDA's auto labeling of these functions, so I have to like do a bunch of manual stuff every time now. Okay, so we fixed that. Seems basically fine. And I use a really high-tech solution for this, which is I search NSH. And then when that happens, I undefine it, and I extend the function that was before it by 8 bytes. Super high-tech, but it solves my problem. Hey, Poster. Yeah, no, it's been 4 years. Couldn't you make an IDA plugin for this? Yes, I could. But I haven't, so here we are. It sure would be convenient if I had an IDA plugin for this, because it would save me, quite a bit of manual effort. But, we live in a society. And I see. 8. Lula says, IDA has E keybind to the function end. It's fine. I have this workflow largely memorized. You just don't even need to worry about it. Okay. I have done this many times, and I am fine with just manually doing it. There's a bunch of stuff like this that I'm gonna need to do. Right, because this is from this. Right. Okay. This is the system handler. Yeah. Okay. Let me just check that this is not this function. No, it's not. Okay, perfect. Do this. D4. This workflow ain't the fastest, but it's muscle memory to do it all manually. Yep, that's exactly where we're at. I see you understand. Right, okay, so I gotta undefine this, and then go back to this and make it a function, and then go back to this and fix that. And now I continue looking for NSHs. Continue. Are you doing this on the Core 2 Duo? No, so I'm in a VM, but I have a Threadripper 3970X. Okay, and then the next thing that I'm going to need to do is I am going to need to fix up the user space access functions, because those never get labeled correctly. And so the way I do that is I do LDTR to find this. This is one that does a supervisor mode access that's relatively new. And so I have to manually do that. Again, this is all automatable, but I have never automated it for reasons. Such a good day for me to release. I'm waiting for flying this to kill time. I'm glad to help you kill time. I really enjoy this, and I haven't done this in 4 years. I'm really enjoying this. Okay, let's see. There should be, yeah, okay. Then I extend this by 8 bytes. I extend this by 8 bytes. I extend this by 8 bytes. Okay, there's going to be a couple other fixes I'm gonna need to do. But the easiest way for me to find the fix-ups is just to do a bin diff, see what it complains about, and says it doesn't find, and then like fix it that way. Yeah, it's always the same shit. Really, it's not finding sync XPX exception. Let me see, because that should be the same. 8006. Interesting. I wonder what's causing that failure to match, but I'm not gonna worry about it. God damn it, I hate when I do that. Okay. Okay, hardware timer cask. Yeah, that's always a thing that happens. It's because this is branched to by one of the thread sleep functions. What's our breaks with it? There are 2 atmosphere services that are going to be broken, and I'm going to otherwise need to figure out what's different in the kernel and then fix that. Okay, address arbiter, cancel wait. Yeah, that's the function. Arbiter, cancel wait. Go here. Yep, there it is. Okay. So this is gonna handle, that'll fix the failure to find cancel wait. Then there's the capability functions, which those always fail to match for similar reasons. It's always the same sets of things. Because I'm going to set capabilities for user, and this is going to branch to this function, and IDA just fails to recognize that this is a tail call. Yeah, I bet Tegra QEMU with IDA's debugger is super great. That sounds amazing. I have not actually done that myself yet. I've done some of this work, but not. I have not used IDA with Tegra QEMU. Okay, get current processor number. Yep. Get current processor number. And yeah, okay, function chunk. Classic. One of these days, I will figure out how to fix this and make it automatic. But today is not that day. Initialize common. Yeah, initialize for user, okay. Yeah, the Switch being 8 years old is crazy to me. I have spent so much of my life with this console. And TinyMT fails because it's part of the, it always thinks it's part of PHE bitmap because it's a tail call. That's kind of like a common theme of this first layer of things, is that I need to find a bunch of things that are tail calls that this just doesn't understand. Bitmap RNG. Yep, there we go. This is going to be TinyMT initialize. And then terminate process. Yeah, this is just going to fail because it doesn't understand that this is going to be kprocess exit, I think. Doesn't understand that that is no return. Classic. That's going to fix that. Is it your favorite console? Yeah, the Switch is my favorite console. I have spent so much time with it, and I am completely in love with its operating system. I think it would be impossible for it to not be my favorite console. Supervisor mode thread starter. Oh, right. I forget about that new one. Right, because this is the funny one that does this. Right. Let me look for on thread start. Your favorite games on Switch? I love Animal Crossing. Is probably what I would answer there. Right, and I forget that to make this work, I forget that I do this. Patch program, change bytes. Yeah, so I do that, which, did I do that wrong? Whoops, I think I patched that wrong. Patch program, change byte. Let's fix that. Whoops. What did I break here? I feel like I broke something there. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's fix this. Edit. Patch program, change bytes. I swear, isn't it? I added a 14 right here, and that fixes it. Okay, there we go. I don't know what I did wrong. Don't know what I did wrong the first time, but there we go. This is invoke supervisor mode thread function, and that'll fix that. Need to get init argument address. And how do I find that one? It's called ICRT0 a bunch of times. Okay, let's go to CRT0. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That is get an argument address. Not sure if you would even want to answer this, but were you able to get a hold of a Switch dev kit to mess with? I have never had a Switch dev kit, actually. It's very funny. There was a period of time when I was trying to get one from like eBay and like Yahoo auctions, and I never succeeded. I have never had physical access to any kind of dev hardware, which is really hilarious in the grand scheme of things. Set third context nipple. Okay, so these two I know. I'm gonna undefine these, and they branch to another thing down here. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. Okay. How long did it take for you to learn the basics of reverse engineering? I learned them over the course of, I would say, 2 or 3 years, from like 2014 to 17, but really 2016 to 17, because I didn't know any assembly until the summer of 2016. Dumb question, but would having dev hardware somehow complicate things with doing this? It depends on how dev hardware was obtained. It's complicated, but the convenient answer is that a little, but probably not if it was not gotten through like NDA material or from Nintendo. Okay, so that's that, and then right, fucking sleep. Sleep. Okay. Yes, sleep manager thread function. Okay, so the sleep manager always breaks in the same way. Any idea where I can start then? I heard this shows challenge programs online for learning. Micro corruption is awesome, but I would need to think about it. And my brain is so going to be focused on this stuff for the next couple hours that I don't have any obvious suggestions. Right, also I should do edit plugins, friend master configurations. The best advice that I can give for getting started is to play Micro Corruption, which is an online little crack me using an MSP 430 processor. Okay, there we go. That's better. So this should be system registers save. Let's get in here. Right, and this will be broken because of the switch, which it always fails to do. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the ending of this function and extend this function to, I could also write a plugin for this, but yeah. Okay, and then I manually specify the switch statement. Other specify switch idiom. Curious, are you planning on doing any atmosphere fixes tonight? It depends how long reverse engineering takes. I have not actually really looked at what's different in the kernel, but I want to figure out what's different in the kernel first. And once the reverse engineering is done, if it's not too late, then I will start actually doing work on implementing functions. But for now, I'm assuming that there's probably a bunch different. 5, 10. 32 elements, it's 4. There's no shift. The base value is 87D1BDC. Input register is X8, and they're signed. Okay, and now that's doing that properly. Okay, so that's great. What time is it there? It is 6:20 p.m. I live in Los Angeles. I'm on Pacific Daylight Time. Yeah. Okay. I'm planning on streaming until like 11 or midnight, I think. We'll see how my energy goes. But that is the tentative plan. Okay, and yeah, so this function, yeah, this is CPU sleep handler. There's probably a better way to do this, but what I do every time is I just patch this return, this infinite loop to a return, because the way this is handled by the processor involves just resuming right after this function. So this is semantically correct to do this, and it greatly simplifies IDA's ability to understand this. Mother's maiden name. God damn it. That's you too, man. Okay. You guys make me laugh. Okay, and then I want to find the system register restore, which will be right above the turn on CPU. So this will be it. And will it? What am I missing here? Turn CPU. Oh, it's not actually there. It's before the. It's right here. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Another one of these. Sorry for the sirens. You know, one of these days, someone's gonna like make a map of all of the police cars in the United States and in Los Angeles in particular, and then like listen for sirens on my stream and figure out where I live. I can tell. Okay, where is X9 set? Okay, right there. Edit, other, specify switch idiom. Jump table is at 8000 D6680. There are 32 elements. Size of tail element is 4. No shift. 8000 D2334. Its input. It is signed. Okay, that should solve that one again. And then disable MMU, iCache, and Tcache. First type data cache shared. Yeah, okay, so these are the ones that I was expecting because CRT0 seems a little different now. Let's see what's happening there. Let's compare these side by side as God intended. Easier than triangulating cops. Yeah, you know, it probably would have been a lot easier with the railroad horns back when I was living the house next to the railroad. And you're right, no one ever did that. So perhaps I'm not that interesting. Perhaps people just don't care that much about me, which would be the ideal. Okay. Yeah, it looks like they're doing different stuff before calling kernel loader now. Because, I mean, okay, did they just inline some of the stuff? Because it looks like they inlined the IC ILU inner shared. Okay, is this what I think it is? Yeah, it is. Okay. This is this. Here's where I'm looking at the data, like cops or trains, easy question. Well, also, I assume that anyone who's interested in my content is autistic, and, you know, I assume that the autists in the chat are tracking the trains already because of interest. So you guys probably have much better data on trains than you do on cops anyway. I mean, unless one of you happens to like have cops as a special interest or something, I don't judge. Okay, so these. I'm surprised. Is this not needed by start of the core anymore? And then what's this doing? Oh, this is just setting S controller. Okay, I mean, that makes sense. Is this called by other things? Okay. I'm just going to call this set 1. LAX, my beloved. Yeah, man, I live 15 or 20 minutes south of LAX, which is probably more information than I should nominally give, but whatever. I live right next to LAX. This is start. It's going to be initialize 0. It's going to be initialize 1. I got to start other core. What am I going to see here? Yeah, and it looks like they just kind of inlined disable MMU, iCache, and Dcache, which is interesting. Flight path autism goes hard. One of my really close real life friends is super autistic and really into planes, and he had me set up a Raspberry Pi to report location data so that he could get like free business access to some flight tracking service recently. Okay, and this looks like it's going to be basically the same otherwise. Let me just check. Is everything in this segment labeled? Seems like, yeah. Okay, it looks like they just inlined those functions manually. Okay, so let's do another bin diff, and that will probably be a more real bin diff this time. Documents 19.0 bin diff. What virtual machine software are you using? I'm using a VMware Workstation 17. It's still not finding out. That's really interesting. Let's see. Yeah, so that's a real one. I'll fix this one. I know how to do that. It's very strange that it's not finding that to me. And let's output debug string. This will probably just be another one of these things where I'm going to need to fix the inlining a bit. Yeah. Fix that. Fix that. Fix that. Not QEMU. Dude, I don't think this would work in QEMU. Come on. That'd be silly. Okay, when I look at these functions, what is different? This is good, 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 this is good. Actually, I'm just gonna look at this. Sync exception. This is at AOO. Yeah, no, this should be sync SVX exception. I bet there's some other thing that's getting matched to it. Because it's just wrong about something stupid. Exception CO1 exception handler. I'm just gonna manually label these a little bit, and that'll probably help a lot. This is EL0 exception handler. This is the M64 exception handler. Okay, that's loop. T80 is the EL0 system error handler. Huge thank you for all you do. Is there going to be an atmosphere update without the new 20.0 subject you should start with and down the road? No, I'm just gonna try to do everything in one shot, which may be stupid, but you know, you miss 100% of the updates you don't do or something. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott, probably. Okay, let's see. I also, what was the other one I need to do? Debugging this, the cache handler, interrupt handler, right? That's another one of those things. So this one is also just a function that's a tail call, as I recall. I think. Thread function, and how do I find this again? This is cache helper interrupt function. Yeah. So I'm just gonna search for cache helper here. Actually do minimal work. Yeah, but it depends on what they mean by that. Right, because obviously things are gonna be a little minimal at first, but then, yeah, it depends on what they mean. I'm gonna need to do all the new functions, right, or new features. I can't get away with not implementing like new IPC stuff, for example. I am gonna do a version that boots and isn't fully accurate because I'm not gonna reverse engineer all the models, but I'm gonna do the lowest amount of stuff that I have to at first. But the lowest amount of stuff that I have to also includes features, so the question is just kind of ill-formed. Okay, let's see if that improved things. Are there any new system calls? No new system calls, but that's not surprising. What new features did they add? Okay, that's much better. They added this virtual game card feature at least, and also stream play, I think, for the Switch 2. Okay, so let's see, boys. How bad is the damage? What we want is this green to continue for a really long time. We want this to be like all green, and we're looking pretty okay so far. Good. Don't fuck me, Nintendo. Because once we start seeing differences, I'm gonna have to manually look at all of these, and that's gonna take some amount of time. Okay, don't fuck me. Big money, no whammies. Come on. We're doing really good. This is already a good update. This is already not making me sad. This seems very promising. Okay, seems like a relatively small kernel diff. So let me import all these names. Bin diff is good enough that I can pretty reliably just import everything here. So that is excellent. What's the most not green you've seen in an update like this? So Tenebrio, a couple updates ago, they updated the compiler version and also rewrote a lot of different subsystems and all but like 500 functions. I would say about a third green is the best I've done. Okay, so how bad is the damage? There's 1,507 functions, and 1393 is where they start. So this is a good one. This is not going to be killer. This is going to be very reasonable, actually, I think. Okay, this is super doable. This is very positive. Okay. This is where things really start. This is where I start actually having to do things. So what is different here? Oh, come on, really? I'm missing jar file and prefix. Oh, fuck you. That's gonna be annoying. Is this because I don't have bin diff on this virtual machine? Oh, because it wants bin diff 7, right? Probably. Well, nothing has ever gone bad by me copying stuff from the host before. Clearly. So 1 second while I copy some stuff in from the host. I'm going to turn the screen black while I do that, just in case. Let's see, what does this say? Not actually going to stream. Programs. Violating separation with an it's fine. Exactly, right? Come on, it's so fine, guys. It's so fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, screen should be back up in a moment here. And if this doesn't work, I'll just do stuff manually. It's not a huge deal. Okay, does that fix things? Okay, seems like that did not actually fix things. It still gives me a Java fail. Does it not know where Java lives? Because I think bin diff should definitely be here, right? Bin diff char. Okay, well, I'm gonna assume that I don't have Java installed on this VM, and I'm just not gonna worry about that. We're just gonna. How do I want to do this? Normally, what I do is I normally do view flow graphs for every function here. So let me think about whether I want to figure out how to install Java. I guess I could do that, I guess. Yeah, that's definitely the problem here. Right, because if I do that in the host, it absolutely knows where it is. Well, you know what they say. Time to download Java. No, I don't want to update Firefox. Java. Oh man, things that you have to do. Should I do OpenJDK? Will that work if I need Java WDXE? This is very elite stuff. Yeah, man. Of course there's internet. I'm gonna push stuff to GitHub from the VM. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Use Adoptium. I don't fucking know what that means. Does it have Java W? Yeah, it does. Okay. Are you streaming from inside or outside the VM? Use Adoptium. I am streaming from outside the VM. The way that I do this is I have a VM and... Interesting. Okay, sure. Why not? I have this VM running, and I have OBS running in my host configured to capture the VM's screen, or the VM's window. I don't think I need whatever this is, guys, but okay. Yeah, man, 3 billion devices run Java. I can't believe we're at the install Java part of the stream. So where's this going to install to? Because I think that Ida is probably just gonna do a Java invocation, and I don't know. I might have to add that to path or some shit. Let's see. Did that fix it? Yes, it did. Okay. So, will this work if I do this? Probably not. I'm probably gonna need to. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need to update my. I'm gonna close and reopen Ida. Okay. No, I can just diff again. Okay, documents. This updates. 819. Say whatever you want, but I love Windows. I am a Windows fanboy. Windows forever. Bin diff. Go. Is the host also Windows? Yes, I use Windows exclusively. I don't have a Linux machine. Photographs. Come on, do something. Okay, this seems positive. Okay. Come on. Excellent. Okay. Yay, we installed Java. That's what this is doing. Okay. Initialize random resource limits. Let's get that open both 19 and 20. Windows Server. No, I'm on Windows 10. Fuck Windows 11. I don't know what I'm gonna do if they get rid of Windows 10 entirely. It uses Windows, doesn't use Hyper-V. Look, guys, I understand that I do a lot of things that are objectively very stupid and or suboptimal, and you just gotta trust me. It's all just according to Keikaku. Don't worry, it's all planned. It's all calculated. Okay, 2006 2520. Aren't they ending support for Windows 10 in October this year? Yeah, probably. But don't worry about it. It's so fine. I was on Windows 7 for a while after they ended support for it, I think. 2023 and 4. Okay. So what are they doing here? Well, they're initializing the Mersenne twister, which is sensible. Send twister. And then what? Okay, so they're setting this initialized system kernel Mersenne twister to 1 instead of to 0 instead of 1, which is strange. Did they just invert the logic for that? If it's 1, generate bytes. Otherwise, yeah, okay. It looks like what they've done here is they have inverted this. Let's see. G is not initialized. Okay, system control send twister. That's really strange. I wonder why they inverted that. But let's start a little note stock. Okay, so from the difference, I don't think there's going to be a compiler update. Slash minimal compiler update, and first thing we noticed is inverted Boolean track initialize variable status. Trans twister, and now we continue. Set hardware breakpoint. Fuck me. I totally know what this is going to be. Okay, so you see all these? These are all functions that use ktarget system. And so I bet you anything they change something with that, and I bet it's also going to be inverted. Let's see. What's the damage? Yep, okay. So I go here, and yeah, that's going to be the same deal. Thank you, low U SSB. Okay, so I bet they inverted all this stuff again. Right, because this is how it works right now. And if I go here, yep, that's ktarget system. And it looks like they made everything 4 bytes again. Because it used to be 4 bytes, and then they changed it to be 1 byte, and now it's 4 again. So let me subuse local types. Ktarget system. Okay, so these are going to be ints now instead of bools. And now if I go here, yep. Okay. So they are now checking the opposite. Really so curious. Did you know Sony uses instance pools? I did not know that. That's actually really interesting. Okay, so this logic looks just inverted. I'm guessing this is the same thing again. G just K target system. And then I'm gonna have to fucking invert all these variable names. Gross. Okay. Not is debug mode. I bet this is gonna be it. Super duper interesting. Okay. I bet that's right. And one way to find this out is gonna be, let me look at initialized static for should I make chicken nuggets and watch stream? Chicken nuggets are great. Highly recommend. Okay. If I go here and I compare system initialize static. So they set debug mode here to whether your git config is not 0. And here they set it to equal 0. Okay, so that makes sense. Enable URL logging is whether that's not 0, and here it is 0. Yeah, so it seems like they inverted all of these checks, right? Because even enable dynamic resource limit before was equals 0, and now it's at 1. Okay. So confirmed, they have inverted all of this stuff. Although interestingly, they did not invert this determines whether or not error is showed when like doing like a panic. Yeah, because if this is set, then they call the secure monitor call to show an error. Okay, so really interesting. Booleans in system controls target system logic. Okay, target system fields have inverted meaning. system present tool is now inverted. Oh yeah, bin diff is awesome. I super recommend it. It's what made diffing the kernel actually reasonable. Okay. So I am going to expect that this is going to be the bulk of the differences because that's going to impact a lot of functions if they just inverted that straight up. Okay, and what I like to do is as I am doing this, I import the symbols as I go. So set hardware breakpoint was just that. I bet get thread list is just that. Yep. I bet get debug thread param is just that. Yep. Create session. I don't even know why I'm checking this, but we do what we must. Okay, that looks possible. Nope. That's get target system. Yep. Okay. This is all just get target system inversion logic. Let me just check the other fields just in case though. Yeah, okay. Branch 0 compared to 1. Yeah, same shit. Okay, K-page table change properties. Does that use a K-target system thing here? Oh, okay. New data synchronization barrier after they change attributes lambda. Good to know. Data barrier. Okay, let's just double check where that's happening, because we can see it's at CB180. CB180. Okay, I see. That makes sense. Great. What next? So debug thread context. Yep, target system. Okay. Okay, print line with program ID. Huh, they touched the print line? Oh, right, because this is just UART stuff. This checks if UART is enabled. Yep. Okay, it's more K-target system. This is also going to be K-target system. I feel like that's going to be most of this diff. It's just me going, yep, they inverted some booleans, but that's fine. Okay. Create session in K-client ports. Yep. Get debug thread context. Curious what video settings to switch to allow. I'm really curious too, actually, because I don't really have a good sense of that. Okay. Yep. Create events. Gonna be the same shit. Yep. K-target system. Check can rewrite debug memory. Yep, because this also uses K-target system. If this is going to be like the only difference in the kernel, I'm going to roll my eyes. This is stupid. Okay. Very minimal switch kernel difference this time. It's like this is really unusually light. I think ever put in an Easter egg. I don't think they've ever put in Easter eggs. I think they've done poor if defing, and so they've effectively given me Easter eggs, so they keep leaving in like features that are for the new console that I'm not supposed to know about. Right, so here's what the difference looked like for the last kernel, and it was a lot more intensive than it looks like this kernel is going to be. This looks very straightforward for me to do the diffing for. So that's nice. That is very nice and convenient. Okay. Let's see. Great, light session. Have I done this already? Yeah, I have. Okay. Get process list. This is just going to be more K-target system. I get this feeling every time I'm doing this where I know what I'm going to see, and I have to check anyway. But I don't make the rules. I just do kernel diffing. This is K-target system, and I bet this is going to be an opt down here. Yep. Sometimes the compiler they're using, which is some C-lang version, loves to align branch targets to multiples of 16 bytes. So I get a lot of diffs that are just nops inserted. Do we have to process? Already checked these. Do I future thread info? Yep. Get debug event. Yep. Query debug process memory. I've been reversing the PSVO2 eye tracking, and the structure these for eye tracking data is int bools, and it's so cursed. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on with their bools, because they were 4 bytes for a long time, and then 19.0.0 made them 1 byte, and now they're back to 4 bytes. So, who can say? Memory, break the process. Okay. Yeah. Maybe they know some issues with that. Maybe, but it's hard to imagine, right? The previous assembly was fine. I don't understand why they inverted stuff. It's so strange. Like, why invert your booleans? It feels like it's asking on some level for you mess up somewhere and you like enable debug logic on prod somehow. But who knows? Generate random U64. Yep, and this is going to be because it's an inverted check, isn't it? Right? Yeah, it's because this check is inverted here, and same here. I have a dream that there will be any meaningful difference besides the data barrier. Only bin diff tabs. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yep. Yeah, I should probably close these. Okay, now let's go back here. Okay. I'm curious, do you use one large monitor or do you have multiple? I have two 1440p monitors next to each other, but this VM is a 1080p window. And so right now on my right monitor, I have the VM that I'm working in and also Discord. And on my left monitor, I have OBS and like Twitch chat so that I can see what you guys are saying. Okay, I have a dream that page table and merge pages will have differences. Come on, show me the differences. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. This looks like actual differences. Great. Okay. Let's see what's changed. Oh wait, it's a K page table merge pages, isn't it? Not a impl. Yeah, oh, is it? What's going on here? Why does this have 4 arguments now? Is this really used? Huh. Fascinating. Let's see, is this still look vaguely similar? Context, entry type. Yes, that's a 24, so that's now A3, it looks like. The primary and secondary text in BinDiff looks like product sans. Who knows? I mean, it's Java, right? Okay, where is out actually used? Because I assume out page, yeah, so this is out page. Do they make this a member function? What is this A4 function doing? Interesting. It looks like it's doing a callback after it actually sets the entries. What's the callback on? A5, which is a user argument for the callback, and V22 is... Oh, is this the contiguous bits? I think it is. Okay, and because this is now a member function and not static, it's taking into this pointer, I guess. It wasn't actually used. No, okay, so page table info. Yes, do you have an IDB for any of these newer kernel versions, or do notes and labels mostly live outside of IDA? So yeah, I mean, obviously I have an IDB. This is my IDB for 19.0.0. Yeah, I mean, I have an IDB. I have the IDB for the most recent kernel open, even. But I take notes outside of IDA so that I can copy them onto the wiki, which is very polite, I feel. Let's see. Okay, so after writing this system, running this on this and this, and this is, what was this before? E14. So this is like the head and tail disable merge bits, I think. Let's see. Also, sorry if you hear my partner talking in the background. Just don't worry about it. She's I'm a little sick, and she is also sick. She's kind of just hanging out downstairs while I'm doing this. Let's see. Interesting, brand new function. Okay, what is this doing? Thank you. Red. This is being passed. Oh, I bet this is being passed a kpage table as an argument. Yeah, it totally is. Ooh, is this node updated? I think it is. Okay, that's really interesting. Rework the DBS as English version. I'd like to be clear that I do not support piracy, so definitely don't like DBI. Okay. Page table. I think this is node updated. Right, because let me check, but I'm pretty sure that this is node updated. And I think what they've done is they've changed node updated to happen at the time that they write the entries and update them instead of doing anything else. All right, and let's stick in another keyword for the disable bits. Disable bits. Yeah, this is absolutely node updated. Which is interesting is this has always historically been inlined, except for the brief, beautiful period of time when they God, that was so nice. When they had the kernel compiling with OZ instead of O3, and they were optimizing for size, and the IDA output was just beautiful. Okay, so this is all using node updated. What's it using here? Also node updated. Okay, page table. Node updated. Does this ever use something else? I just want to check to see if there's any other callbacks. Node updated. Node updated. Node updated. Node updated. Node updated. Node updated. Okay, so it's always this callback, and this one doesn't use the software bits. Interesting. Yeah, I have no idea what would or wouldn't stop people from booting 20.0.0 using chips, but I do Atmosphere. I don't do the chip maintenance, so I'm sure someone will figure that out while I work on Atmosphere. So interesting. On entry update. On entry update user data. Actually, let's call this arg. This is out page. This is this. Correct. You've not missed the vaping. I vape. Pages. I am sure that people will figure it out. Okay, so switch into bool. Okay, so that's really, really interesting. this now takes an argument callback after updating entries. All colors on X. RK page table updated. This causes entries to be every time an entry is written instead of once at the end. Yes, they are page table entries, Block Builder. They're actually page table PTE entries, in fact, just for you. Here we go. This is really interesting. Back is passed. Disable merge software reserved bits from the entry. This appears unused on X. This is probably for something in the switch to kernel. Okay. So let me start saving this so I don't lose it accidentally. X 19 to 20. The text. Okay. See, I knew we would get interesting things here at some point. So I bet this is just the version. This is almost always just the version. And actually, I should check this a little more thoroughly just to be sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's the same shit. Okay. Yeah. 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 I knew this would be the same, and I still have to check. Yep. Okay. Well, I had to check that. Sorry. It would be really embarrassing if I missed something stupid just because I was lazy. Yep. Move something by 3. Okay, this also looks like it's doing something different. There's an actual new call here. So let's see what's going on in initialize by param. This is the worst update to RE. I think I would say the worst was 12.0.0 actually, because they added the new IPC framework TIPC, and that was so terrible and so much work. Max process memory. Interesting. Okay, so previously they did heap region end versus page table heap region start. What is this doing? Oh, this is doing address space stuff. Okay. Okay. Get begin. I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but we can't see anything you're doing, so you can't? I would expect it to be visible. No, actually, Masan, one of the really annoying things about bindiff is that it only diffs code and not data. And so if I want the data to be done, I have to manually do all the data. And that's a pain in the ass, so I don't always do it. But bindiff still saves so much time, like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, okay, I know what this is going to be doing. This is dumb. Got it. Okay. I already imported the address space info functions. Okay, I'm going to import these. I'm pretty sure that this one is going to be the size. Import. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, complain. Okay. Why is it complaining? Is it because it's 64 bits now or something? No, I have no idea why it's complaining. Oh well, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's say the bit width equals this. Then it's gonna go here. and this equals the type. Yep. Okay, so it's gonna set that equal to the size. Okay. Yeah, seems legit. Although what's this at the bottom here? Size. And there's a kernel panic otherwise. Interesting. Okay, so let's just trace this. 1 bit width, type matches. If the size is 0, then it kernel panics now. Which it might have done already? I'm not actually totally sure on that. No, okay, no it didn't before. So that's a new kernel panic. Interesting. What is this doing here? Size. Okay. V4 is 1. This is probably like a found variable. And it's not jumping anywhere, is it? No, it's not. Okay. Not if you update firmware. If you update firmware OFW. Oh yeah, that would break a mod chip. That's true. You're here now. That is for sure a thing that happens. This is type. There's 1. Go here. Okay, and then it looks like it's doing a hard-coded lookup for ID 5. Which, do I even remember which one that is? No, I don't think I do. So let's take a look. If I go to atmosphere, I go to libraries, mesosphere, include mesosphere, current K address space info. So these are the types. I think I store them in a source file. Address space info. Yeah, that's what I thought. ID is 5. Oh, do I name this ID here even though it's really the type? Yeah, I do. Okay. This is doing is it's checking if the type is type alias. Makes sense. Although wait, that doesn't really make sense, does it? Okay. Starting from the beginning here. We get the bit width for the desired address space type. Makes sense. Find a matching bit width. Okay, so let's say that we're going for type 1. Type size. Match. And then it continues to check if the ID is 5. Alias size. So does it find the highest alias size in practice? Right, because this is... Okay, I see. And then it checks address space 2's bit width. Okay. So it gets the alias size for the correct address space and the actually specified type. And then what does it do with these at the bottom? What is V2? Okay. That makes sense. V2 is like the actual SVC create process flag. This is 4. If type is 3, what's 3 again? 3 is heap. then it adds the alias. If type is 5, it returns 0, otherwise it returns the sum. Okay. This is super interesting. I bet this impacts all the callers. Okay. And which create process flag is that? I forget. Time to look it up. And papers include papers SVC types common create process flag. So 4 would be 64-bit. No. Let me think. What is this going to be actually? So this is checking if the flag is 4. This is shifted by 1, which is actually 2. So this is a 32-bit without alias. Okay, that makes sense. 32-bit without alias. Yeah, no, I hope that I'm working on this for a while, and totally understand needing some sleep. Thank you for the good luck. Later, Fire Dragon. Alias. Okay. If this is so that alias. Is returned directly. Heap. The text size plus the alias size. Alias turns okay, that makes sense. And what was the caller to this that we were looking at? Right. Max process memory is set to the size of the region. Is that right? Must be. Okay. Process. What's this function again? Oh, like initialized by param. Yeah, okay. Get size. Instead of calculating, because it used to calculate from the page table heap start. Okay. What next? We're having a very fun time here. Let's import these. So if you understand correctly, it is moving the alias size over to be part of the heap size and will now return 0 alias sizes, so everything still adds up. Yes, and this is specifically for the address space type 32-bit without alias, and this was manually calculated elsewhere. And my guess is that the other callers now take this into account as well. So I'm guessing that the like kPageTable initialize function will also know about this. But yeah, we will see. I am satisfied marking that one as done. View flow graphs. Oh boy. Now this is gonna be a nothing burger. This is more just k-target system checks. Stupid. Okay. Basically based initialization process. Yep, exactly as predicted. There's gonna be some difference here. And I bet it's gonna be, right, I forget this one is gross about this. This is a huge function. I'm just gonna open it up. Okay, let's get into the weeds here. Right, because this is a known caller of these. 0432, and then it just goes here. Okay, I see what they're doing here. Yeah, so what they've done is they've just simplified a lot of this logic, right? Because for case 4, they no longer need to like manually calculate all of this. They can just call address space info get size, and it will do it for them. So this is them simplifying the way that they set up the page table regions for this kind of address space. Does that make sense? Right, because before it was a lot more complicated before, and now they get to kind of just have all the same logic, which is nice. Yeah, because they used to like manually get the heap and add the alias for this kind. Now they don't have to do that anymore. Nice. I kind of like that actually. That is actually a nice change. Yeah, this is computing the same values. Well, technically it's going to return a different value, but all of the callers will have been updated so that this just magically makes sense now. Let us have a simpler calculation region extents for 32-bit device now. Okay, K-shared memory map. I have no idea what's going to be different here. Looks like there's some removed blocks, and what's this here? Okay, that's just removing a stored local variable. What's this? What's different here? Okay, they're no longer doing an instruction cache invalidate. Oh, is this like in some function it calls? I bet it is. K-shared memory map. I bet this is totally in like map pages or something. Yeah, okay. So this is in map page group. So the real difference is just going to be in here, and we're seeing it here because this is a caller. This looks like it's otherwise going to be the same. Let's see, where is it doing an invalidate? Why does it do an invalidate? Oh no, that's still there. Oh wait, does this support? Did they add support to this for this? Interesting. Did it not support an instruction cache invalidate? It did not. Wait, does this let you do stuff with permission? Huh, did they make this able to do execute? Why would this be able to do execute? Are they now reusing this function for mapping in executable pages? Because that looks the same. Yeah, let's find iterators. Yeah. That looks samey. That looks samey. Yep. Updater is now allocated later, but that's fine. Oh no, wait, that's still the same thing. Okay, I see. If the perm is 0, the perm has the execute bit set, then they invalidate the instruction cache. So let me make this operate call look good. It looks like the same map call as always. Yep. I bet the rest is all the same. And this is a failure case on map. Equal to address. So that all looks the same. And then, yeah, okay, memory block manager update. It's going to be the same shit. Page table updates finalized. It's unlocked. Okay, so map page group is now allowed to map pages as execute. Fascinating. Does it have new collars? How many collars did this have before? No, it looks like it's all basically the same. Oh, interesting. Oh, huh. Did that not invalidate the instruction cache before? Interesting. But wait, this isn't going to have the execute bit set in any case, is it? User read write. Generated code. Oh, it totally could for JIT. Ah. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so this is a correctness bug that they're fixing. This is not a security bug fix. But this is a correctness bug fix. So this function was already being used to map pages as execute when doing JIT system calls. And I guess that they were not invalidating the instruction cache here. And I bet that this this fixes a bug in some process that uses JIT. Fascinating, right? Because is this gonna have for anything else? Go with good luck, have fun with the RE. Thanks, Matt. Tell Cleo I love her and to sleep soundly. At 7. 2. Owner perm. Yeah, okay. It's memory, user right, map process memory, user right. Okay, so it's just the JIT case. Interesting that this correctness bug did not cause problems before. It's not that surprising because of the way the JIT system module works. My guess is that like the not invalidated instruction cache didn't matter because this is code gets mapped at random addresses, and it is overwhelmingly likely that code was never mapped at the address, since there's no like stale TLB or anything, and no stale instruction cache for that address. This fixes a correctness bug that is used to map pages as read execute by JIT species. I mean, maybe you do some security nonsense with this. This seems really hard to exploit if there's any security implications. I don't really see how you would, because you would have to somehow like get stale instruction cache data at the relevant address. But that's really interesting. Yeah, no idea if that's exploitable or a security bug, but who knows? Now, I know you're joking, but I'm thinking about it, and I don't understand the instruction cache behavior well enough to actually evaluate that. But I don't think it's a security bug. At least I think that if it's a security bug, it's essentially impossible to exploit. Okay, change attributes lambda. What's this doing differently now? Okay. Right before merge pages. No, this is just setting up the arguments for merge pages. That makes sense. And also it no longer does the node updated afterwards. Okay. Yep, that makes perfect sense. Let me just add a little note here. Actually, I don't think I need a note here because this is just going to be obvious when I'm implementing this. Okay, case scheduler activates. I don't know what they could possibly have changed here. I am an exploit author, and it is not obviously exploitable. Okay, K-target system. I sincerely doubt that's exploitable. It doesn't feel like a security bug to me. It feels like a correctness bug. Okay, shared memory, unmap. Is this also doing unmap page group? Oh, I bet that's symmetric. I bet that it's gonna do an instruction cache invalidate if the memory had the execute bit set. Let's see. Yep. If their permission was set, it now invalidates the instruction cache. Okay. Thank you, Tan33. Get used user. I hate when they change these functions. This is the worst. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, no, I'm sure that they found some crazy bugs. What are they doing here? Okay, well, then do it. Look at the function. Okay. And resource, force the call type. Interesting. Are they now checking the resource? They check that it has a resource limit. Is the actual math different? Heap end, heap read and start, map, main stack. No, that seems like the same. Interesting. I don't know if they would ever not have that set. Okay. Are the light star primitives used anywhere? Do you mean the light IPC system calls? Because no, they are not used literally anywhere. And they have never been used. Also, I apologize if you can hear me drinking. I have a like Starbucks drink on my desk, B, a tall glass of water on my desk. And I'm definitely going to be sipping from time to time since I'm doing a lot of talking. And I like not starving, which is really contentious, actually. A lot of people like starving. I don't. Wait, what Starbucks drink? So Starbucks is doing some promotion limited time thing right now. For the oyster slurping sound nice. Where they have like cherry foam available for chai lattes. And I went to Japan last year and really liked the Sakura drinks. And this is kind of reminiscent of that. So I'm getting a hot chai latte with cherry foam right now. It's very delicious. I like it a lot. Okay, guys, only 45 more functions to go. Process reader set permissions. Okay. Got some stuff in here. I'm just gonna check the decompilation, but okay, remove blocks. This is probably a real thing. Memory lock function update. Oh, you know what? This is just gonna be a map page group update. This is for sure just it calling map page group. Oh no, it's actually set process memory permission. Interesting. Okay, but the difference that it's finding is actually going to be in set process memory permission instead of anything else. So let's see what is changing here. Read, write. Okay. Iterator. Yeah. Boring. Finding the place to map. Very boring. I think it's the first field, right? No, it's not. Okay. Text. Scheduler update. Yada yada. Permission add 4. Interesting. Okay, why is it passing a different value here? Change parameters and refresh. Change parameters and refresh and flush data cache. Okay, so they're no longer doing a data cache flush on permission 4. Interesting. Is that real? Let me check that. Operate, because they might have just changed the IDs. Map. Unmap. Change perms. Yeah, it seems samey. Lambda. Same stuff. Flush data cache. Okay. So they actually did change that operation, which is interesting. They no longer flush the data cache on execute stuff here. Interesting. Set process memory permission. Now uses page table operation. Change perms and refresh. Instead of change perms and refresh and flush data cache. And the execute permission is set. Oh, and I bet that they're then gonna like manually invalidate the cache. Yeah, I see. Okay. So before so now they store the data cache and invalidate the instruction cache afterwards. I see. Validate, and then afterwards they update and invalidate. Okay. This makes sense to me. Function now uses this. Data cache store plus instruction cache invalidate is now done before operating. So after instruction cache invalidate is done after memory lock manager is updated. Okay. It's still the same, right? Yeah. I think that's just an out-of-date item, isn't it? Yeah, because it's been the same for a while. I need to update my items in my IDB. I've been on them in a long while. Also, just checking that I didn't time out from chat. People are still around, right? I guess I wouldn't really know if I just completely disconnect from chat. Okay, cool. Cool. Thank you. Always glad to see like 10 people message. Okay, great. I think this is probably gonna be the same deal, isn't it? It's gonna check if the resource limit is there. Yeah, interesting. I wonder why they're doing that now. Functions using custom resource. Now check. Just refresh myself on the oyster lore. Yeah, so the oyster lore. I and my family travel to Hawaii roughly once yearly, and I've been doing this since I was a young child. And there's this hotel. There's this restaurant at the hotel that we go to that serves a like a raw seafood bar. That's all you could eat, and they have oysters. And I really like oysters. Oysters are phenomenal. And so when we would go, I would go to this raw bar and I would eat only oysters. And it turns out if you are me and you just eat a dinner of full oysters, you usually do about 5 dozen or 6 dozen oysters. So 60 or 72 oysters is a good night. And a lot of people find this very disgusting when you tell them this, and they get even more grossed out when you tell them that you get food poisoning, like maybe 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 years, because you just cannot avoid food poisoning with that many oysters, especially at like an all-you-can-eat seafood bar. But the food poisoning is worth it because oysters are fantastic. I have no regrets, and I will continue getting food poisoning every couple of years because it is the based and correct thing to do. Okay, what's happening here? Interesting. Oh wait, is this just unmapped page group doing an instruction suggestion validate? Yeah, it is. Okay. So it's like the first time I'm agreeing that it's valid. It's not that bad. I mean, like when you get food poisoning, you just like throw up for like 6 hours the next day, and you feel like someone's like killing you. It's not that bad. I would do it again, and I will do it again this year. We're going in December again this year, and I'm gonna do it again. Why you got wishy-washy instead of oyster then? Because I like oysters as food, not as Pokemon. Get total non-system. Yeah, okay. This is gonna be the same thing. Yep. So process memory information. This is the diff we saw earlier. EL0, it's not that bad. It feels like silly. Yeah, I mean, it's just not that bad, right? Like, it's awful, right? Like, food poisoning sucks, but, like, I've had food poisoning so many times, right? Like, there's this restaurant I went to called Hana Kitchen in Santa Barbara, and I like the, like, Yoshinoya-style beef there, and I ordered it and got food poisoning. I was like, shit, okay. So then I ordered it again and got food poisoning a second time. And then I ordered it a third time and got food poisoning a third time. And then I decided to, give it, a while. Before all this, I had gotten it a couple times and not gotten food poisoning. But anyway, I got food poisoning from it 3 times in a row. And then gave it a break for a while. Got it again. Didn't get food poisoning. Then the time after that I did. And then I got food poisoning a 5th time, and I stopped ordering from there. So I do learn my lesson eventually, but it takes me a while. I will not lie. I've had food poisoning so many times that I'm like not that surprised when I get it, and it doesn't bother me as much as I think a lot of more sane people would be bothered. That's life. Okay, interesting. They're doing different logic for handling the TLB thrashing on asynchronous exception now. You're definitely just the guy that figured out cow's milk is good with that kind of spirit. So true, bestie. Okay. So what are they actually doing here? They are reading TBR, they are reading far, and then they're just always doing a VA1 invalidate instead of trying to determine whether to invalidate an acid or a VA1 depending here. So it's kind of interesting. Zero option handler always does TLDI VA1 instead of doing that or TLDI ACD1 on status bits. Okay, what else are we looking at here? This looks samey, handle exception, samey. I probably need to tag the SVC handler, don't I, for it to not be mad at me. 64, handler 32. Yeah, okay. This is just gonna be some vaguely inverted logic, but this is fine. I'm just gonna manually do the ASM for this when I update it. 64 exception, 32 exception. These are just calling that. K process initialize user. Okay. What's the damage? It's a lot of blocks removed, actually. Interesting. I wonder if they managed to remove a failure case. Must be. Let's see. Yeah, I actually love different kinds of milk. Big milk fan. I wish that it was easier to try more exotic milks. Soybean instead of nipples, you can't fool me. I will never understand people who like non-whole milk. I mean, I guess some people have dairy allergies, but I love whole milk. I drink basically exclusively whole milk, and like I actually sometimes drink half and half instead of milk, just because it's just milk but better. Like half and half is to whole milk as whole milk is to skim milk, and skim milk is garbage. Okay, let's see. This looks samey. Exactly, it's more milk for milk. It's half and half is like adding milk powder to milk. Yeah. So did this change in some way? Yeah, it's still just setting the resource limit variable. Yeah, I mean, looks like it's gonna be the same. Interesting. Yes, actually, this is doing different stuff here. Is it though? Oh no, I think that's just it's just changing where the error logic is. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I don't actually think this is gonna be any different. Skim milk over skibbity milk. That's true, my son. And as someone who has seen every episode of Skibbity Toilet, skibbity milk is not high quality. Dedication. I love memes. I am a known meme lover. This should not surprise anyone who has interacted with me for any real amount of time. What episode are they up to now? I think they're in they like just got to the 70s, I think. Yeah, okay. Finalize. Instruction. Yada yada. Pages 2. So I'm like trying to figure out if this is just inverted like finalization logic or what. fails, then they do a finalize. Otherwise, they yeah, okay. Otherwise, they do a capability initialize for user, and if it succeeds, then they do stuff. But otherwise, here, if this fails, then they go to finalization. So that's samey. So the process ID, they check for errors. Where's the call type? Flags, they check flags, they. So this looks like the way the compiler has done this has changed, but I'm not saying like actual differences in logic. Initialized by param. Finalize, optimize. Oh, well, I guess actually. No, this is just inverted in terms of where it is, right? Because this is doing the same things in the same order, depending. Open and return 0. Yeah, it looks like this is just okay, Waterton, that's not true. Everyone in this chat should catch up on Skibbity Toilet. Everyone in this chat should catch up on Skibbity Toilet. I don't think there's actually anything different here. I think the compiler is just restructuring the blocks. I mean, I'm gonna check that. All right, let's just sanity check that. First thing it does is reserve. Then it sets the system resource based on number of pages, and if it needs to, it initializes a new one. And then it checks that the process is within the slab heap and panics otherwise, which looks good. Then they initialize the page table. And if that fails, then they do some cleanup. Then they get a bunch of regions and they send to check that they're correct. And if they're not, then they finalize the page table and do more cleanup. Then they call map pages 2. And if that fails, they do cleanup. If that fails, they do cleanup. If it succeeds, then they call initialize for user. And if that fails, they do cleanup. Yeah. And otherwise, they get the process ID from the current process ID global. They check that it's in bounds. They check for secure system resource, and they check the flags. And if the flags are set, then they initialize optimize memory for process, and then initialize by param, and then finalize optimize memory for process. Otherwise, yeah, I mean this is the same. It's just differently structured. Ah, that is a good name, block builder. Okay, so I don't think there's any actual difference there, despite the different, block structure. So there probably was a compiler update then, but also in a very minor one in terms of the actual input on impact on cogen. Which one is this? Create process. Okay. Yep. This is tweaking get address space info calls, so that makes sense. Yeah, I think all callers of get address space info are gonna have to do this stuff. Okay. Yep. Check for enum value, and there we go. Begin. Get the size. Yeah. This is gonna be more simplification for case 4 here, I expect. What is actually different here? Begin, this is 0/2 depending. 0/2 depending. Yeah, still seems samey. What was that? That's the map. I forget if it's like the small or the large. Yeah, map small or map 39-bit, so that makes sense. And they call get size on it, and they also call get size on 0 or heap for 36. Is that right? Yeah, okay. Why is this passing this here? Oh, this takes a new argument. Okay, I just completely missed that because I'm blind and I can't see because I have no eyes. Fascinating. Fascinating, fascinating. Okay. Oh, wait, no, is it not doing that? It's definitely moving x2 there. Is this not referenced? Okay, well, we love if diffing. This is definitely a switch 2 thing. Whatever they're doing here with this is a switch 2 thing because it is passed as a parameter now, but its actual usage is going to be if deffed out on, yeah, no uses of x2. Okay. Yay, if diffing. Again, now takes size as a third argument. This is unused on x. Yeah, okay. What else? Get size, get size. Yes, yes. That's K target system differences. Region, check user capabilities. Okay, process gets set. Okay. Yeah. I know that this might seem a little like I'm just like skimming, but I've looked at these functions so many times. A lot of this I don't really need to reference. I can just look at it and understand, which is nice, but also a little whack. Okay, so what's going on in case secure system resource destroy? Okay, same kernel panics, initialize panic if not initialized. Actually, if it's not initialized, is that a panic? Yeah, checks if it's a member of the slab heap. Got it. Okay. Check if that's used. Check if the member like info manager is used. Check if the page table manager is used. May free secure memory seems right. They get required memory size. Okay, they check the resource limit for non-null here. And if the resource limit is non-null, then they check if they're not in the slab heap. And panic. So it looks like they now check if the resource limit is non-null before they actually call release limit. This is really fascinating. I wonder what this is fixing. What I don't understand is how you would end up with a secure system resource initialized but with a null resource limit. I mean, actually check this. Resource initialize. Right, I mean, it takes in a resource limit argument and it's now checking it. Was it not doing that before? No, it allowed it to be null before. Oh, I see. It allowed it to be null before, but then it would have done an null dereference if you had one of these null before. So was that ever actually possible to get a null resource limit here? Because this resource limit was always going to be the process resource limit. Every process has a resource limit. And this would have taken in the system resource limit. Must be possible on switch 2 to get a null resource limit in there for realsies, because you can't do it on switch 1. There'll always be a non-null pointer there. to rename this system resource. Now it has checking case where resource limit is pointer is possible on NX. Checks in. Okay. Copy string from user. Really? They changed the user space access assembly? What the shit? Is this just like identifying it wrong now? String from user, right? Because if I do this, interesting. Right, because the actual assembly here is definitely identical in the actual user space access functions. I know you've given Nintendo unlimited access to Atmosphere. Have they ever used that? Yeah, probably. But I think the whole point of it is that I wouldn't know if they have, per se. There are definitely cases where I've made improvements in Mesosphere, and then later I've seen them in the stock OS, but I don't... obviously, there's some stuff that's kind of unknowable for sure. Interesting. I bet that this is a... I look at Atmosphere here. Libraries, Mesosphere, include Mesosphere. Actually, let me just go to source. SVC. If I go to like SVC port, because this is doing it. Username port? Yeah, username.copy string 2. So I bet that this is a case where this k user pointer thing is no longer being inlined, which is very funny. Very, very funny. This is what? K user pointer copy string 2. Did they just have permission to license in the GitHub, or have you actually had a dialogue? What we're talking about is the license exemption I give them in the Atmosphere dialogue. Sorry, the Atmosphere README. They have the right to take any code that I author for Atmosphere and use it with no attribution under the zero clause BSD, which just means that they don't owe me jack shit. Which is intentional and I think positive. Okay, so this is interesting. Wonder why that is no longer being inlined. Right, because this is not in the user function area, is it? Nope. Figures. I wonder if this is just a weird thing where like, because there's a lot of differences on these user space access functions, and there shouldn't be. Actually, I'm going to take a moment here to label all the user space access functions so that they will be forced to match correctly in bin diff, just in case, because I think the fact that that matched says something else must be not matching. Gotta say, someone who knows basically nothing about coding, I really appreciate everything you do to maintain Atmosphere. It's not like easy. It's a lot of work. It's so much work, like you wouldn't believe. But it's a labor of love, and I do it gladly. You know, when I was a kid, you know, I used, or well, a kid when I was like a teenager, I used the you know, homebrew stuff for other consoles, and I remember I was always really, really frustrated by how those projects were managed. I would want them to do things differently. You know, things would take a while to update. People wouldn't be transparent. It was a constant frustration for me when I was younger to see how custom firmware projects were managed for those consoles. And, you know, I always said when I was younger that if it were me, I would do things differently. And, you know, now for the Switch, it has been me. And I have done things differently. I've done things the way that I would want them to have been done if I was, you know, me as a kid. That's kind of my model for this stuff. Is, you know, how would a young self want this to be managed in an ideal world? And then I just tried to do that. And I think that's it's worked out really well for Atmosphere, because it turns out teenage me had really good taste in how custom firmware should be made and managed. Do you ever think you touched non-Nintendo consoles? Yeah, I mean, I own a PlayStation 5. I've like used the homebrew stuff for it. I think it's a lot less coherent than Atmosphere is, which sucks. But what can you do? Copy string to user. Update lock atomic. Oh, interesting. Did they just get rid of clear user memory? Oh, well, I guess that makes sense. It had no collars based. I have done some poking at non-Nintendo consoles in the past, but I find it a lot less interesting and engaging. This is also not accessed. Also not accessed. Update lock atomic. Yeah, makes sense. That looks samey. Updated equal atomic. Decrement if less than atomic. Store data cache. Look, the Xbox 360 hypervisor got broken after so long. Yeah, no, I know that. I saw that exploit. That's fucking crazy. That guy's super talented. Wild stuff. 32-bit, write IO memory 16-bit, read IO memory 8-bit, write IO memory 32-bit, IO memory 16-bit, write IO 8. Okay. Damien the Artson says, how close are you? Well, I'm still doing reverse engineering on the kernel. You accidentally updated your script. Well, you're fucked. This is probably going to take some number of days, I would guess. I mean, I've been wrong about that before, but yeah, I would prepare yourself to be waiting several days. I mean, I'm going to be doing my best, but yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I would fill your time with other stuff. Let's see. It's really interesting that these are all now... God, is this going to be a bunch of different K user pointer shit? It totally is. Maybe I'll figure that out later. Okay, let's get back to the actual interesting diffing. Okay. Where were we? Handle exception. Okay, handle exception differences. That is really interesting. Will this be a hard update to make? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm gonna have to do a bunch of work, but I don't know if it'll be objectively hard in any sense. I guess someone who wasn't me would probably find it difficult, but it's more just gonna be a bunch of time than it is gonna be like literally difficult, because I've done so many Atmosphere updates, right? Like this is what, like my 15th or 16th time doing a major system update for Atmosphere. It just there just can't really be that much different. Fucking K-target system. Okay. Yeah, K-target system. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Okay. Well, I'm guessing this is mostly just K-target system stuff, but I'm still gonna check. Will my system custom firmware be safe once I've updates? Yeah, I mean, you'll be fine. You just need to wait for me to finish updating this, and then you'll be totally fine. Base custom copy memory from user. That makes sense because it's now using these little collars. And what is this in libmesosphere? Is there gonna be a VOD for the stream? Yeah, I will upload the VOD to YouTube as soon as I'm done. No worries. I upload all my VODs to YouTube, so you'll be able to watch them there. Anyway, let's see. This is gonna be more user space stuff, isn't it? Construction data user mode. Yep, user space. Oh, interesting. This is not a K user pointer thing. Have they removed the? Oh, they must have added an indirection layer. That's not just K user pointer. Fascinating. Okay. I don't know why they did that, but they sure have done it. Now all called through do you have any socials outside of Twitter? I'm on Discord, but I don't use Blue Sky or anything else like that. I have a Reddit account that I post atmosphere updates on. Yeah, it's really just Reddit, Discord, and Twitter. Was the worst and most annoying update you did before? 12.0, because they added a new IPC serialization protocol, which I had to reverse engineer and implement on stream. Interesting. So interesting. Let me just see this. I'm just gonna like name this all user space access 2. God, we are really peak naming. I really wonder what this is. I mean, maybe they have some. Maybe this is more Switch 2 stuff with if diffing. Have you heard of a IDAPAL? Oh my god, I cannot stand AI, so no. I have not used ChatGPT since the day it came out with like the first version. I am not a fan of AI stuff in general. So yeah. Oh, mislabeled this one. Whoopsies. Their limit. Yeah, they can only blow like 64 e-fuses, but they've got so many, so they're good. They are really so good from that perspective. I just feel like, call me an elitist or whatever you want to say, but AI is confidently wrong a lot of the time in the way that I hate when people are on the internet, and it kills me. So no thank you. I just... I'd rather use my brain. I don't like trusting a fallible thing that might hallucinate. It's... no, I'm not an AI believer or an AI guy. Just fuck that. If other people want to use it, no judgment, but I would rather like shoot myself in the dick. So big no from me. Okay, is this not using the access to stuff? Interesting. Oh, I wonder. Oh. I bet what happened is this is a. Oh, I see. Yeah. Because this function is, I think, outside of the actual user space access region. And so I bet that they added these handlers because this is like a checked handler. I bet this user space access 2 is actually all a user space access checked helper, and there's just no checking to do on almost all these functions. So this is, maybe there is checking to do on switch 2. Parity the supervisor node function. God, the was is not an RPG guy. Sorry, Zen is not an AI guy. Very funny. Okay, yeah, okay, so this user space access 2 is actually almost certainly user space access checked. And let me just do that. I know it's boring to watch me, fix up a bunch of names, but I'm going to be using this when I'm actually implementing, so it is good. It's good to, go through the labor here. I actually will say that I don't mind AI art. AI art is okay for me, but I don't have a visual imagination. I have a total aphantasia, I think it's called. And this means that AI art, I've used some AI image generation stuff as like a proxy for visualization, which I think other people can just do in their brains. And that's been neato. But yeah, by and large, I'm very, very anti-AI. Okay, I think that's probably going to be it for handle exception, but I'm going to keep checking. It is the worst if you don't label it. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah. Does that make sense? This is all user space access checked. This all makes sense. Okay. Finally we are making sense again. Yeah, I know there's a huge debate on stuff like AI art and training and, like intellectual property and all that. And obviously, as someone who makes a video game console homebrew custom firmware, I have very strange ideas about intellectual property in general. So I think that, your thoughts on that debate should depend on your thoughts on intellectual property in general, and mine do, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, what is this big check? This looks like a new check. What is the status register here? This is ESR 801. And what is this? This is ESR EC. SR1. Outside of programming and stuff, what is your favorite game you've played recently? Blueprints came out recently, and then I sank like 80 hours into it immediately because it's a phenomenal game. I don't understand why it got such good review scores, right? Because it's such a niche genre of game. You need to like both roguelikes and puzzle games. I know somebody like loved Baba Is You and The Witness, and has put 1,000 hours into The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Blueprints was designed very much for me, so I loved it. But yeah. Okay, let's see this. forget where I define these. I think I define them. Oh, God, why did I use binary for this? Why am I like this? I don't even have an entry for 4 here, actually. Where the fuck is this? Where the fuck is this defined? I think this is like in the arm or something. Okay, so this is F. This is 10. This is 20. So 24 is data abort EL0. What is is 4 gonna be like data abort EL? No, that's data abort EL1. Okay, so if this or 4 is 24, so if it's a data abort in EL0 or it's instruction abort EL0, EL0 data abort or instruction abort. Yeah, sorry, you guys are talking a lot about AI rights in the chat and IP laws, and I'm gonna continue paying attention to diffing the kernel. Feel free to talk your little hearts out about it, but just know that I'm mostly skimming and not really reading your opinions on AI scraping rights, since I don't think they're very important to me. Okay, this is checking if at 4.3f is 410. What the fuck does that do? Yeah, no, the homonym there is intentional. Myrmecolontidae? I probably said that wrong. Okay, this is the ISS bits, and so 4.3f is using the low 10 bits? No, 12 bits. No, 11 bits. 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Low 11 bits. So that 4 is bit 10, isn't it? Really? Defeat memory tagging? Okay, so this is checking for a memory tagging exception. I'll just do canonically tag memory. Allocation tag access. Bro, I never knew you streamed. Thank you, Angelus. Yeah, I haven't streamed in 4 years, but I used to do these a lot. Okay, let's see. They're not checking bit 8. Bit 7 is assured only, not being checked. Overlay, so they're checking that it's not an overlay permission. Checking that the dirty bit is set. I don't even know if this is right, actually. Hey, Cyrus, I had an argument with someone with the legality of modding consoles because they straight up said it was illegal because it modifies the console, so I use Atmosphere, it's illegal. But if I make Atmosphere myself from scratch, that's personally illegal. That's a really weird argument, Damien. Obviously, I don't think I agree with that. Yeah, that's a very strange argument to me. And XS. Is this even right? I feel like I need to look up like the Cortex. I feel like I need to look up the actual Cortex ARM for the specific processor in the Switch. It's like a Cortex A7, I think. It's an A57. Yeah, okay. ARM. Going to be for the Cortex documentation. Yes, okay. This is actually Cortex 57. I think I was probably looking at some other processor there. Okay, yeah, this looks more right. Bit 10 is reserved. Interesting. Okay, so that is in fact using a reserved bit here, which, classic. And what's this checking? Okay, check bit 6 is reserved. Bit 50 IOC. Okay, so this is checking instruction fault status code for next 10. Okay, so this is checking if I is 10. What is that? Synchronous external abort. Okay. This is bit 10, right? Right, because bit 8 is 0x100, bit 9 is 0x200. Hey, you know what I should check actually? Bit 10 is reserved here, but what if Cortex Cortex A78C SRE01? Is this not going to document it here? Come on. Really? You're not going to document the syndrome information? See SRE01.iss for description of functionality. I did, and it told me to look here. What do you want to bet that this bit 10 is for some kind of fault on the switch 2? I bet it is. Right, because how do I find this here? This is in a description system registers. Okay, I would probably have to look at the arm for this, but I am gonna bet that this is some kind of error specific to the switch 2. Otherwise, if we see, so if this is a kernel address, then they change the IFSS to be a hard-coded one. That's really interesting. And that's also not documented. Super interesting. I don't really understand what this is doing, right? Because what is bit 10? I mean, do I need to get like an arm for Cortex A78C? Is there like a PDF of this that I can get somewhere? Because I feel like this just doesn't have the ISS bits. If anyone wants to help me figure out like where I would get the ISS bits for ESR-E01 for the Cortex A78C, that would be very helpful. Odds they will if-def this in the next update, they're relatively high. Unless it just doesn't matter, right? Because they're bad about if-defing in general. Well, tell me what ISS is here. Why is there no syndrome information? Because if I look here, right, and I go to ISS, I like don't really see any information on this. Which page is this? This is ESREO1. Okay. Hello, you hoojed. Assuming I'm pronouncing that right. I feel like this is a memory tagging error. I mean, assuming that this is right. I feel like this is vaguely consistent with that. Fascinating. Okay. Well, I don't think I'm gonna get any clear answers for now. If anyone wants to like figure out what the fuck that bit is, feel free to try to figure out what bit 10 in ESREO1 is on like an A78C processor, because this is almost definitely like switch to specific fix-up logic. Okay. And where was I here? 333, yeah. Okay. It's attached. Check this, check this. Makes sense. Interesting. Does this not take all these arguments anymore? Check RMV 8.3a ref. Do you want to like link that, Alula? Because I would rather let someone else figure out what's going on there and then come back to it later. Already. Debug. Exit. Yeah, okay. And the rest of this is probably gonna be the same. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. The rest is all the same. When was the last time the kernel received an update of this size? This is actually a smaller update than normal, Fuzzy Assassin. The last time it received an update this big was 19.0.0, which was a bigger kernel update than this. It's done on ESR. One EC values. If our EC is x20 or x24, port 0/function, port EL0, and ESR EL1 at 4 10. See, treated as 0. Otherwise, if PC is a kernel address, and ESR EL1 has the ISOC bits set to hard-coded value 4. Fascinating. Super, super fascinating. Okay, well, this is clearly Switch 2 stuff, since I'm pretty sure this bit 4 is literally reserved on ARM, on the Cortex A57 in the Switch 1. Okay, change in initialize interrupt threads. What are we looking at? Okay, this is just K-target system. Initialize resource managers. This is for sure just K-target system shit. Yeah. Right, because the LDRBs need to be LDRs now. Yep, that's K-target system shit. Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I'll look at it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be K-target system shit. A new server for virtual cards created for telemetry too. No idea about telemetry. Wouldn't be surprised if there was a new server, but I don't actually know. We'll find out soon. Is virtual card like lending digital games? Yeah, it's exactly that. They talked about it in the Nintendo Direct. Okay, well, guess that they are doing memory tagging checking on Switch 2. So that's gonna suck for anyone looking to exploit that. Okay, they check if the count is less than or equal to 4,000. Previously they checked if it was, huh, is it different? Oh, this is probably a different heap. I bet they changed the order here. Let's see, 70, 270, F9F. Yeah, this is definitely the block info slab heap. Okay, I don't know why they changed the order here. Oh yeah, no, Switch 2 definitely has pack. I'm not surprised that it has NTE, but it wasn't clear to me whether they would be using it, you know? It'll not change servers. I mean, these things are. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That'll get figured out sooner or later. Is that not right? Interesting that they changed the order of this stuff. Yeah, they just changed the order around of this. Okay. This is at least fairly straightforward. Got this wrong then. Servers are PO1 instead of hack. Yeah, that's true, actually. Okay, and this will be the preference counts. Yeah, okay. System is this. Did I do these right? Initialize user. Oops, that's system and that's app. Okay. It's interesting that they reordered the initialization of all these fields. Kind of surprising. Do you think Atmosphere would survive in the Switch 2 if it were to get hacked? I would not be maintaining Atmosphere for the Switch 2. That is solidly someone else's problem. But we'll see. I feel like it's unknowable. I mean, what custom firmware will look like for a console that isn't hacked yet is such a big open question. Whether or not whoever does that is going to make it based on Atmosphere or it's going to be something totally different, we'll see. It's so strange that they renamed all these, or that they moved the order around for these. I mean, kind of silly not to be based on Atmosphere. It depends. Atmosphere is a lot of work to keep updated, and I pity whoever isn't me who ends up having to do that. Right, because like I can imagine if you're not me, like why would you keep the kernel reimplementation? Why would you have Mesosphere? It's so much fucking work, right? So we will see what people do there. Oh, interesting. Is this new? Are you going back someday to reimplement the 3DS kernel? I really want to. I really, really want to. Making Bacon says, is it just me? Can barely hear. Volume seems super low. Probably I was looking away from the microphone while I was saying that. Sorry. I might be louder and more audible now. I'm not sure if Tux is redoing the 3DS's kernel or not, actually. Well, that doesn't seem right. Interesting. I can up the gain a little more. Let's see. Okay, is that better? There, I just turned up even more. I mean, is this better? Maybe. Okay. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. I haven't streamed in 4 years, so I'm expecting a lot of this to be a little touch and go there. So what is happening now here? Applock info slab heap gets 4,000 entries, and then the system block. Well, no, but why would the system block info slab heap have a size of 64? That doesn't make any sense. I think I'm labeling these. I think I'm labeling these variables wrong somehow. Let's see. That should be a page table manager. Yeah. Okay, I labeled these wrong. Okay, we're gonna have to fix this. I'll up the mic volume a little more even. Okay, that is even more upped microphone volume. This is me talking. This is a test to see if that's better. Okay. Yeah, I labeled these wrong. Whoops. Whoops. Page table manager should be this. Okay. Okay, page table manager. Actually taking this from this. And then the other two are both dynamic allocator managers, so we'll fix that too. And the app resource are also, okay, no, that one's right at least. Okay, glad. Sorry about that. Yeah, I have really not touched my streaming setup since 2021, and so there's probably some stuff that I just won't notice unless someone points it out to me. So thank you for that. Okay, now let's see what's going on here since we've now got this stuff renamed. Patient block info, seems right. That's not going to be right. This is going to be the, okay. What is this? Yeah, sorry that you didn't know there was audio. This is just the block info slab heap. Okay, I think that they've just shuffled stuff around, at least from an initial pass. I'm not sure why they've changed the order of everything, but it is looking to me like they've just change stuff around. Yes, okay. Yeah, it's just stuff shuffled around. It's lucky enough to get the volume mixer off of 500% before you increase the gain. Yeah, sorry about that. I apologize to anyone who got hit with a really loud noise if that happened. Hello, Dude Skyr. Okay. How is everything going? Possibly a new huge page stuff in 239 to if to shifting around. Oh yeah, that actually makes sense. This actually does process huge page stuff in this function, but it's all kind of if-deffed out on NX, where they have this page buffer size, which is just a constant in RO data, which is always 1 page. And my guess would be that this is this stuff has changed, and that's why it's all shuffled around. But yeah, okay. Thank you for the good luck. I don't really need luck. I'll get it done. It's just gonna take some time. Kernel initialize resource managers. Now initializes managers in a different order. Okay, what could possibly be different in stop system of all things? Oh, just knobs. Okay. Those map pages. Oh, I feel like we probably already looked at this one. Oh, no, because we looked at map page group. Ah, jeez, really? Okay. Did you cover anything interesting that changed? Yeah, I've been working on the kernel diff. It's always the first thing that I do, because I like to get it up on the wiki night of. So, working on that until it's done. And then they do lock. Check its kernel. Check if. Interesting. And this is going to be the same thing in the end, I think. So what is this doing? Is this a new function to find a memory block? I think it might be, actually. Okay. Alignments. This is an address. This is like a low and a high. I get it. Okay. Region address, region of pages, number alignments. Okay, let's go ahead and name these. Out1, keyword, out2, word, region, adder, keyword, region, num pages, keyword, pages, keyword, alignments, keyword, keyword. Yeah, I'll just call it 8. I forget. Actually, look at the libmesosphere source for this. And pages, and this is a call fine for your end. Oh yeah, it's numguard pages. Okay, let's see. Offsetting guard pages, almost certainly. It's just no longer inlined. if num pages less than num pages plus 2 times guard pages is greater than region num pages. Interesting. I guess plus guard pages. Okay. I think this is a low and a high range. But this is not actually doing random yet, is it? Okay. Region guarded starts. Negative alignment will be line mask, lined, region guarded starts. And region guarded start offset. If your start is above offset, check for overflow. Otherwise, they start and they add the alignment and the offset. Okay. Also made a typo there. This makes sense. Then they do check the address plus the number of pages minus the number of pages and the number of guard pages. Added end. Line guarded end. Line guarded end. Offsets. Similar deal where they make sure it's in bounds. End is less than the start they return now. Otherwise, okay. Start and end. Something like a page table get line free area. It's probably returning a bool for whether or not it's succeeding. Okay, so if that fails, then they return out of memory, and otherwise, yeah, okay. Well, this is making sense. Okay, and then they're gonna use this for the actual like region extents here. Range 0 to, yeah, n minus start divided by alignment. This, and they check if it fits, and otherwise they, yeah, okay. And the candidate is start plus that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And they do the same usual checks here. See. Okay, if that fails, where's the final address used? Okay, yeah, this is the memory block manager. Find free area. That makes sense. And it jumps here if ASLR is not enabled. Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's summarize this. A page table, This area now uses a helper to compute the start and end of the guarded region to generate an address within. That all makes sense. And I don't think anything's gonna be different after that, probably. Map pages simple. Yeah, that's gonna be the same. Yep. Okay. Page table, separate page simple. Interesting. Is this gonna be another one with like a callback? Probably. Yep, totally take the callback now. Do you think this callback takes a takes an argument? Doesn't seem like it takes the disable bits. Okay. Okay, so this is the same difference that we found earlier in a merge pages impl, where it takes a callback that gets called after entries are written. And this is probably just going to be note updated again, I would guess. Yep. It's note updated in both cases. Okay. Makes sense. That's what I'd expect. Oh boy. It's just going to be the same find free range shit, almost certainly. Yeah, okay. I think any function that's using this is going to have the same stuff. Same deal, yeah. Praying NVIDIA fucks up and there's some unfixable hardware issue. You know, people really love to hope for things that aren't very likely. So, you know, Godspeed, I guess. Interesting. Return from exception difference? Okay. I wonder what that is. I think you might have just heard my wife sneeze just now. I'm not sure how audible that was. Yeah. Didn't hear it. Thanks for keeping us informed. I heard it, and I have no idea to what extent it's audible. Store context. Next one. Ah, jeez. Okay, this looks like it's doing a similar thing as happened Okay, restore context is doing the same thing that was happening in handle exception, where they're fixing up ESREC for memory tagging errors. Do you think Nintendo's going to make rebootless updates more standard on the Switch too? I mean, rebootless updates just update the bad words list, so no. Or like rebootless updates by necessity can't update any code. So it depends on whether or not they decide they want to update the bad word list more often, right? A and B when? Yeah, really? Okay. We're getting close to the end, boys. We got 15 things left to check until we're done with the kernel. Oh, it's done reverse engineering the kernel. There'll still be more work after that. I think when I finish the kernel, I'm going to take a 5 or 10 minute break. Get some more water, use the bathroom, and then dive into actual programming. I think that makes a lot of sense. Base map static. Is this just gonna be fine for area stuff? Yeah, okay. It's just gonna be fine for area stuff. That's fine. I feel like it's gonna be the same for all of these because these are all just functions that call find free area. Yeah, no, for sure. Okay. It's just that they updated find free area and these functions are all using it. Exception. What the fuck did they change here? Oh, this is definitely just downstream of that thing they did, right? Yeah, because previously, okay. Oh, this is EL1 synchronous exception handler changes. Okay, what did they change? Exception handler. Let's say 57 or. Okay, well, it looks like they've reduced the number of times that they're reading ESR EL1. I don't think you could ever time of check, time of use that, but later, Kitlith. Hope you enjoyed so far. I think that this should be a meaningless change, probably, I would guess. Almost certainly meaningless. Let's see. Comparison values. Yeah, okay. It looks like they're just not reading it repeatedly, but let's actually check. Actually look at the assembly. Possible that reboot bypass uses I could distribute a few, cause a few field, not a few serpent. I have no idea, Alula. I have no idea. Well, yep. Should only look at the flow chart again. Okay, so I think they just realized that they can reuse the value there because it's already there. And then TPNZ A. What was this doing? 2204. Okay, so they AND it with 3F, they compare, and they branch down if equal. They test it for bit 0xa. But that is impossible because they have already ANDed it. Is that right? Yeah, and they just removed that check, it looks like. Yeah, it's weird, Misan. I mean, you look at this, and they're reading it multiple times, and this check didn't even show up in the decompile output because it's impossible to pass, right? Because they had previously ended it with 0x3f, and this bit will always be clear because they've ended it here in 19. Do I have a note about this or some shit? I feel like I probably do. Your source arc M64. Oh, no, because I think the exception assembly lives in the mesosphere folder. so it doesn't get like permanently linked in. Source arc ARM64 exception handlers. Let's set the language to assembly. Handler. Check if far is valid by examining the F and V bit. Note, Nintendo again has a bug here. The same as above. They do not reverse the value of X0 and it can compare with the irrelevant bit already messed out if F0. Okay, well, I mean, classic. Absolutely classic. Check if there's a TLB conflict that caused the abort. No, there's a Nintendo bug in this code that we correct. Nintendo compares the low 6 bits of X0 without restoring the value. They intend to check the EFC/IFC bits of ESR EL1, but because they shifted ESR earlier, they always fail. So did they solve that somehow? Where did they branch to 4? Is there a logical shift to X1? Okay, let's see. How are they doing this now? Move it here. They compare it here, and then they branch. And... okay. Oh, okay. They're reading it an additional time here. Okay, so they fixed the bug that I commented on forever ago. Okay. Good on Nintendo for fixing a bug that I documented in Mesosphere source. Great. Okay. Okay. This makes more sense. Yeah. Okay, so they fixed that, which is good. And then they removed this check. Yeah, they've just completely removed this check in the first place. And maybe it's just not necessary. Yeah, no, I mean, good on them for fixing a check. That's always good. DSP, ISP. Yeah, it looks like they've generally redone this a little bit, and they now DSP ISP here instead. And they never do a VM only one; they always do a VAE one. And they could have found it independently because it looks like they also changed it from conditionally doing a VAE or a VM only to just always doing a VAE. Yeah, that does appear to be a good change. I mean, I like that this doesn't even show up here because this condition is impossible because they had a bug. I mean, they don't need to keep it clean room. I have a licensing exemption for Nintendo. They can take any fixes that I have. Later, Serenify. Note, checks Nintendo did previously been bugged for many years and did not work. These checks were fixed to actually work now. Okay, that makes sense. Well, I'm glad that I had documented the bugs. Super funny. Super duper funny. Let's see, create process parameter. Okay, well, what's this going to be? Okay. You check the various sizes, set them down with address. Check if they can do this for BSS. 101. What are they doing here? Oh, is this just more k address space info stuff? Yeah, they're passing this as an argument to k address space info get begin. Super interesting. Super interesting. This apparently gets used. This is almost definitely for switch 2. This new argument that just doesn't get used on NX. Okay. Yeah, and these CCO ones are all the same. Okay. Okay. Where's my little diff document? Yeah, it's already noted. Okay, process initialize. Oh boy, looks like changes. Although it's probably just k-target system, I would guess. Yeah, CB, NZ, CVZ. Yeah, I would bet this is just going to be k-target system, but we'll still check. It seems like they're not even going to separate the two operating systems. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's one operating system. They just have if-deffing, and they also if-deff really poorly. They've been leaking switch 2 stuff into the code for like years. They started work, as far as I can tell, on the switch 2 back in 2020, at least. Memory pool, resource limits, here's allocate. Yep. Parent flags 640. Amp system resource. Otherwise that reference count. Otherwise this. Yep. Now exit. Check if it's in the slab. Got the page table initialize. Got lots of this fun stuff. This has all been greatly simplified, but are the differences actually different? Start, check it end. Okay. It looks like this is just the compiler making the sad case simpler. Yeah, heap and reserved. Okay. So that's the failure case. Well, yeah, of course the switch to OS isn't separated. We've known that it's just going to be a single repository for forever. Map page group. Map page group. Then they call OK capability initialize. Then they put the initial process ID. And they call initialize by param. Yeah, okay. This just seems like different inlining. No real changes there. Initialize, we already noticed. Uses the thingy. Okay, separate pages. Yeah, this is just it passing the arguments. We already looked at this. Impl, again, that's oh, interesting. Did this change a bunch? It's funny because I could have sworn that I just did something like this. Did I not? Huh. Definitely confused. Oh wait, this is key page table. We'll separate pages. Yeah, okay, this is this one. Whoops. Okay, what is different here? Yeah. Interesting, it checks not using the output pages first now. Oh, is this just... Oh, I bet this is just different inlining shit because it all has to pass the stupid... Where is this even used? If you use output pages... Do they like inline stuff twice or something? If we're not using the output pages, then they do this loop. Otherwise, they do this loop. Okay, I think I see what's going on. I think this is mostly just going to be different structuring of these blocks depending on these variables. Because previously it did a, while it's not contiguous, separate the pages, and then node updated, right? And if we're using output pages, well, separate pages simple, and this will automatically do it for us, right? And so because this is so simplified, that makes sense, right? And if we're not, then the thing is a lot more complicated. Okay, that makes sense. I see, okay. Yep. Okay, there's no real difference in this function, again. Kind of as expected. Didcar says, have you seen anything regarding game chat in your browsing so far? No, but I've only been looking at the kernel. I've been doing the kernel since 3.5 hours ago, but this is actually a very good kernel clear time. I would say a slow kernel for me is a 5-hour diff, and this is looking like it's going to be a 3.5, 4-hour diff, because we're getting to the end here. Initialize static, which we already knew was just inverted. Manager find free area. Okay, what's different here? I think this is all just guard pages start. Yeah, this is end start. Yeah, I see. Okay. They updated this to do the same kind of structured determination of where the guarded region is. Used. Helper. Inline. Block manager on free area. Then what else? Sure. Import these symbols. That's not right. Merge pages. Yeah, that's because the impl now takes the callback, right? Okay, that makes sense. Okay, let's do one more bin diff just to double check. File bin diff. Where besides SSL trusted certs did the OS mention ounce? It's mentioned in a couple of strings, I think. I would have to check with XKYZ, but it's mentioned in, I think, 2 places that aren't the trusted cert store. One of them is a string, and the other one is as a hash. They're the like hash trace stuff, I think. What's this? Huh, what if this didn't match? Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, this is a function that, oh, right, I forget about these. Whoopsies. Especially this earlier. Yeah. Okay. Looking good. Looking good, looking good. So this obviously doesn't have any of my type info, but I port that over automatically using a little IDA script, so I can worry about that in a little bit. For now, let me go on switch brew. I'm not signed in, so one moment while I log into switch brew. Okay, we are now logged in. Let's go ahead and update this page. I forget how we do this. Let me go to 19 for comparison. How do they determine the platform? By the title prefix, or there's some like new